Hello and welcome back to Vizura Recaps. In the first scene, a crew of pirates is shown resting and relaxing following a successful raid. One of them goes deeper into the woodland to relieve himself when he comes across a bizarre metal mask on the ground. He discovers a dark tunnel while conducting more investigations. Curiously, he steps inside to investigate, but the ground beneath him suddenly trembles, leading him to fall into a hole. The picture then shifts to Warren Price, a millionaire's son, who is on a mission to investigate a former Japanese military bunker on Indonesia's Una Una Island. He is accompanied by his lovely girlfriend, Suang, and a Japanese scientist named R. They are accompanied by a group of mercenaries that includes Captain Tino Pradioko, Ario, and Sergeant Papa Snake. Stanley, a former military engineer who became a mercenary with Tino's unit, is also joining the expedition. At one point during their journey, the group becomes concerned when they hear cries coming from a cave. However, Sergeant Papa is pulling a hoax on them. Warren sees this and chastises the captain for how his men are behaved. Patino assures him that it will not occur again. Following this, Warren and the scientist enter the cave to explore, with the latter claiming that they are getting close to their goal. Outside, Stanley is inquisitive about the mission's true goal and turns to Tino for an explanation. However, the captain admits that he is clueless and prefers to remain so. After a brief inspection of the cave, they all continue traveling deeper into the forest till they come across the entrance to a defunct mine. Reese speculates that it was previously operated by the Dutch but was taken over by the Japanese after World War II. Warren expands on the hypothesis, claiming that the mine was converted into a military bunker, which is exactly what they're looking for. However, before entering, Stanley reminds them that he needs to investigate the area first because there had been evidence of recent seismic activity. Following this, the engineer begins his inspection while the others remain outside. Stanley then questions her about how she came to work with Warren, but the latter remains tight-lipped, only indicating that she is doing her own study. While waiting outside the bunker, the party is unexpectedly assaulted by pirates who fire on them. In a desperate attempt to save themselves, the group is compelled to enter the bunker, despite the fact that Stanley has not finished checking. Ario, who enters last, discovers too late that a grenade has been tossed at him. As a result, a massive explosion occurs, knocking them unconscious. When everyone regains consciousness, they discover Ario was seriously hurt. Stanley directs their attention to the fallen entrance that has confined the group within the mine. He explains that they cannot leave from where they entered. He says they can go down into the mine, but there is no guarantee there will be another way out. The party soon gets into a disagreement about whether their encounter with the pirates was a coincidence. They then confront Warren, wanting to know what they are specifically looking for. The latter attempts to ignore them, but as the group threatens to harm him, he eventually gives in. Warren tells how, with Ree's help, they decoded a series of documents that lead them to their current location. He goes on to say that they are seeking for a Japanese military commander's treasure, which is worth millions. Stanley denies the existence of such a treasure, but Warren knows it is real. The two quickly engage into a disagreement, but Tino interrupts, stressing that they must prioritize getting out of here first. Following this, the group travels deeper into the mine. As they pass a bridge, the lights around them suddenly come on, and a war propaganda song starts playing. Everyone is perplexed as to how this occurred because they believe the mine has been abandoned for decades. Stanley, on the other hand, sees this as a good sign, assuming it means there is another route out. As they continue on their path, they find a room filled with bottles, hazmat suits, and eerie old images. While inspecting the chamber, Warren and Reef find a map on the wall. During this time, a figure wearing a gas mask is spotted standing behind the sergeant, but it vanishes when Papa turns around. The map's markings correspond to the 25th Area Army, leading Warren to suspect it is one of the Japanese commander's hideouts. However, Stanley feels there is more to it and presses Warren for answers. Ree then discloses that they uncovered the mines, which were originally used as an operations center for Organization 731, a secret medical research organization known for conducting fatal human experimentation. Enraged, the team confronts Warren for failing to inform or prepare them for such a situation, but he says he was also uninformed. Following this, the captain decides to divide up so that the injured Ario may recover while they look for an exit. However, Warren and his girlfriend insist on accompanying the captain, fearing that they would locate the wealth. As a result, Captain Tino, Sergeant Papa, Warren, and Suang leave to find an exit, while Dioko, Stanley, and Ree remain with Ario. Tino's group soon discovers another chamber full with cages. Warren discovers an Australian government-issued helmet, indicating that individuals kept in the chamber were POWs. Meanwhile, Ario, who is sitting on a pallet bench, hears a scraping sound. He sits up to explore and is surprised to see the earth change. Before he can alert the others, a hand grabs his leg and pulls him into the hole. As the others rush to assist him, they catch sight of a mutant who immediately flees. Stanley immediately demands answers from Ree regarding the creature, but she, like him, is clueless. Despite their uncertainty, the three of them plunge into the hole to pursue the thing into the tunnels. Shortly after, Ree comes across a disturbing sight, Ario's lifeless body, throat cut and eyes without pupils. Stanley calms her and encourages her to keep moving for their safety. But when they turn around, Stanley is struck down by the man wearing a gas mask. As Dioko looks for his teammates, he comes into a chamber containing human remains, including the brutally disfigured corpse of the pirate from the beginning of the film. Moments later, the mutants begin stalking him. He shoots one of them, but several others emerge from the surroundings, catching him off unprepared. A mutant knocks him in the back of the skull and takes his rifle before leaving. Dioko then attempts to grab for his revolver, but another mutant strikes him, tearing at his eyes. He manages to tame the beast, but his vision has been severely damaged. More mutants surround him, so he begins firing in random directions until his weapon jams. At this moment, Dioko understands he's overwhelmed and vulnerable, so he abandons his handgun and lets the beasts butcher him. Tino's crew, on the other hand, is currently researching a room filled with medical records outlining the many experiments carried out by the Japanese at the bunker. During this, they hear one of their members scream. Sensing the severity of the situation, they run out of the room, but the door abruptly closes, locking them within. In the subsequent scene, Ree and Stanley are apprehended by the gas mask person, who reveals out to be a Japanese soldier holding them at sword point. He speaks with Ree in Japanese, who then translates it for Stanley. Ree tells how the soldier regards them as prisoners of the Japanese Imperial Army. Despite her attempts to reason with him, the soldier refuses to accept that the war is finished. Their talk continues for a few minutes, and when the man becomes distracted, Stanley attacks and disarms him. He then takes off the soldier's gas mask, revealing the face of a humiliated elderly man. Following this, Ree shows him ancient film on her tablet of the ultimate Japanese surrender in 1945. This discovery devastated the soldier, who kneels in front of a body draped in the Japanese flag. Meanwhile, the other squad is assaulted by a mutant creature, who stabs Warren's shoulder with a bone. Tino soon retaliates by shooting at the beast, but it causes no harm. This simply directs the mutant's attention to Tino, and it charges toward him. Just when it appears he is about to be murdered, Sergeant Papa snatches a broken metal rod and stabs the creature, killing it. Warren then examines the creature's head and deciphers the Japanese writing, which reveals that it was an Australian POW. Meanwhile, in the next room, the soldier tells Stanley and Ree's story. He describes how he and his deceased comrade were assigned to guard the mine for years. When the Japanese army left in 1945, they were sealed within. He admits to killing his friend because he wanted to give up and leave. Furthermore, he admits that the mutants are POWs imprisoned in the mine. Before them, Japanese soldiers tortured these detainees to experiments that drove them insane, eventually turning them into the monsters they are today. They then decided to conduct the experiment on their own people in order to increase their power and youth. They gave some sort of shot to warriors like him, but it was another failed experiment. As Tino's crew proceeds to explore the region, they come to discover a horrible sight, a disfigured body, most certainly the victim of the mine's experiments. Its stomach is cut open, and its brain protrudes from the skull. Shortly after, Warren discovers a syringe filled with an unknown liquid and gold flecks, which he believes was utilized in the Japanese Army's trials. This upsets him, and he understands that it is most likely the last of the commander's treasures. While Tino and Papa try to open the door, Warren converses with his girlfriend. She asks why the gold was mingled with the liquids. Warren adds that it is said to be the ancient elixir of life and the foundation for alchemy. When he expresses concern about going empty-handed, Sue proposes that they take the syringe with them, claiming that it may be worth more than the treasure. Hearing this, he hands her the syringe and asks her to keep it safe. Tino and Papa finally unlock the door, exposing a shrine packed with scores of beings clad in samurai armor. In other words, they're the Imperial Guard. These guards suddenly come to life and begin advancing towards the group. Scared, the captain and sergeant begin fire, but their shots barely hit the guards. Tino, sensing the impending danger, orders Warren and Sue to flee, while Papa stays behind to buy them some time. However, the large number of guards attack the sergeant before he can close the chamber door, ending in his terrible death. Tino, Warren, and Sue flee for their life, eventually reaching the cavern where Dyoko was killed. As Tino examines the body, Warren is suddenly ambushed by a mutant. Despite his injuries, Tino confronts the beast and uses a shattered bone to stab it to death. After that, they make their way through the sewer system, eventually arriving in a room with Stanley, Ree, and the gas-masked man. Tino then asks the man if he knows a way out, to which Stanley responds that he has an idea. He claims that the creatures frequently go out to hunt animals and forage for themselves. Warren, on the other hand, appears to be barely surviving due to his wounds. Sue delivers the same syringe she used previously to her lover in a desperate bid to save him. Just then, the Imperial Guardsmen caught up with them, forcing the gang to run for their life. However, the gas-masked man chooses not to flee. Instead, he kneels in front of the guards and lets them slit his throat. In another scene, one of the Imperial Guards frees a mutant from the metal cage around its head, signifying that they are now cooperating. As the gang approaches what appears to be an exit, they are ambushed by two mutants. Tino and Stanley then fight, while Sue desperately tries to open the door near her. Ree also helps the guys kill one of the beasts by stabbing it with a sharp-edged rock. By this point, Sue had opened the door and let her boyfriend inside. Sue then discovers a tunnel leading to the exit, but she is quickly slain by Warren, who has gone insane as a result of the unknown mixture. The three remaining group members anxiously seek another escape route as they are pursued by both Imperial Guards and mutants. Soon after, Ree discovers a drain that leads to the sewer system. She immediately opens the lid and summons her friends who are guarding the door. But, as the intruders are about to breach the room door, the captain makes a bold move. He advises Stanley and Ree to flee, while he stays behind to deter the impending threat. There are many hold-the-door scenes in this film. After this, Stanley and Ree discovers another underwater tube that leads outside. She enters first, but before Stanley can follow her, an Imperial Guard rushes in. Ree swims out of the tunnel and resurfaces in the middle of the lake. She then swims toward the land, when another Imperial Guard appears from the water. Despite her tiredness, she attempts to defend herself, but is easily outmatched by the guard. The film concludes with the guardsman striking his sword at Ree's belly, perhaps killing her. That was the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more material like this, and please press the like button to assist us. Also, if you want us to recap your favorite movie, leave a comment. Take care until the next time.